On both the nights of Friday, August 28th and the following Monday, August 31st, 2020, protesters turned rioters demonstrated at Portland, Oregon mayor's apartment complex. Mayor Ted Wheeler is also simultaneously the city's police commissioner. Hundreds of protesters showed up and played loud music and danced outside of his building. Some even had a sit-in inside of his building's lobby. Fires were started, nearby businesses were looted, rocks and paint-filled balloons were thrown at police. 19 arrests were made in total. These people, who I'm sure the media will refer to as mostly peaceful protesters, had the following demands for the mayor. Reduce the Portland Police Bureau budget. Commit to never voting for police budget increases ever again. And resign. Which I find hilarious, because even if he does acquiesce to their ridiculous demands, they still want him gone. Brilliant negotiation, guys. I'm sure he'll get right on that. Remember that this is the same guy who went to speak at the anti-police protests in Portland on July 23rd to try to, calm the tensions of the protesters or whatever. And then he got pepper sprayed and had bottles thrown at his head by the same far-left activists he's constantly emboldened over the past several years with flaccid non-condemnations and policies that allow them to break the law and avoid arrest, or if they are arrested, walk free the same day. Let's just suppose this situation worsens somehow in the future, and Ted Wheeler finally gets fed up or violently attacked outside of his condominium by rioters, and he wants to use his powers to have the Portland police disperse crowds so that he could come and go unmolested. He would be completely hypocritical if he did this, since he directed his police force to not intervene when protesters blocked the entrances to the Federal Immigration's Customs Enforcement building, which, by the way, unlike blocking the entrance to his residential building, blocking the entrance to a federal building is actually a crime. But Ted Wheeler prohibited his officers from enforcing that law all the way from June 17th through August 1st of 2018. But don't worry, Ted Wheeler won't do any honest, hard-hitting self-reflection of his own culpability for his city becoming a smoldering hellhole laughingstock of this country. Portland has had nightly violent protest for 96 straight days. But while President Trump has repeatedly offered to send in federal agents and/or the National Guard to help protect the innocent citizens of Portland from violence, fires, and damage to their property and businesses, Mayor Wheeler and Governor Kate Brown have repeatedly refused. Then, on Saturday night, August 29th, Patriot Prayer supporter Aaron Danielson, who also went by the alias Jay Bishop to protect himself from being doxxed by Antifa or BLM, was shot and killed in Portland, seemingly by a far-left activist who is still at large. In response, what did Ted do? Admit that he needs Trump's help? Finally tell the Marxist revolutionaries, looters, arsonists, and those attacking the police that it's no more Mr. Nice Guy, and mass arrests and district attorney hard-assery are in store for anyone breaking curfew or breaking the most piddling law until order is restored? Why, no, my rhetorical question repository, he did not. What he did was call a press conference and try to shame the president. Quote, "Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of black people killed by the police officers, even as people in law enforcement have. And it's you who claim that white supremacists are good people. Your campaign of fear is as anti-democratic as anything you've done to create hate and vitriol in our beautiful country." Unquote. Obviously, Trump never said white supremacists are good people. Also, before COVID and the protests started, police violence was at an all-time low, and I find it truly baffling that you'd be tempted to blame a handful of possibly unlawful police shootings a year in a country of 300+ million people on a president's rhetoric that even you refuse to honestly summarize. But more to the point, Ted, Bubby, Portland is one of the whitest cities in America. Let's say we take your accusations against Trump seriously. How would him not having taken the problem of police brutality against black people single out the city of Portland as the hub of violence and destruction in the country? There's only been a few cities where this crap has been happening, and in most places it's far from a nightly occurrence. And if Trump's rhetoric really were the problem, why then would all the nightly violence and recent murder be coming from the far left? Wouldn't his base be the ones all riled up? Frankly, I'm shocked it took Patriot Prayer over 90 days to show up in downtown Portland. That was either some serious restraint on their part or some well-calibrated self-preservation instinct, because they'd be massively outnumbered and Antifa would be out for blood. But now that one of their own was shot and killed, the situation is going to get much worse. Because now they have all the justification in the world to show up armed to the teeth for their own protection. And two politically extreme groups, with guns and itchy trigger fingers yelling and throwing things at each other, or spraying pepper spray, is just bound to end badly. If you don't live in Portland, please note that we could have easily stopped things from deteriorating to this point years ago with just the tiniest amount of backbone from the mayor/police commissioner. All it would have taken was equal enforcement of the law and the courage to tell Marxist protesters and journalists to kiss your ass when they complain about it. And now, just today, the Oregon Association of Chiefs of Police and the Oregon Sheriff's Association provided a joint statement to Governor Kate Brown, explaining that they were declining to send officers to assist Portland police due to lack of support for public safety, their associated liability for their agencies, and lack of accountability for those arrested who are committing criminal acts. They proposed the following steps to bring an end to the criminal acts and violence in Portland. Number one is a strong statement by elected officials at all levels that criminal acts are not legitimate protests and those who commit crimes will be held accountable. Second, there must be support by those elected officials for the actions taken by law enforcement after the fact. And lastly, there must be publicly voiced support for law enforcement and its efforts to protect lawful protesters and hold criminal violators accountable. Well, that all sounds like exactly what the fuck I've been saying for over 2 years. Maybe now they might actually listen.
What, are you retarded?
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
Hi guys, Media Shadow here. I'm trying to grow the channel and hopefully get more than one video out a week. So if you like what you've seen, please give me a like, subscribe, share, or drop me some coin on Patreon. I've left a link in the description of the video. Thanks!